Welcome back to the Cinema Showcase. Almost said the full thing. Cinema Showcase, where movies get their spotlight. It's been a minute since we've done this. I'm your host, James, and today we have very special guests. We got the natural co-host, Colin. How you doing, big man?
Good. How are you, little man?
I'm all right. Little man's interesting.
Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah, no,
I
that was
mean,
that
no,
was
it's
bad.
not. I
That
mean,
that that felt like a
I called
dig.
you big man. It's fine. I get it. And then we also have a very
No.
fun guest who's doing a very interesting thing this summer. So we wanted to have him included in this one. Cameron, you're doing Spielberg Summer.
Oh
How's that?
yes,
Yeah. How's that going?
it's good. I'm taking a short break for it because the next movie in my uh saga is Jurassic Park.
Oh.
Oh,
But
why?
my local indie theater is showing it in like a week.
Oh,
So I'm waiting to go and actually see it in a theater again
okay.
Oh.
before
I thought you were taking a bit of like a prepping break because I thought you were gonna do back to back Jurassic Park and then Schindler's List, which those came
Oh,
out.
that is the next one. That is
Yeah,
the next one, which is kind of crazy.
it's
But
yeah.
the gist of it is that I wanted to watch every Spielberg movie, but I also wanted to take that next step and watch all of the major producer credits he had, and also any movies that are very obviously inspired by Spielberg. Stuff like Nope, stuff like
Mm.
Stand By Me, like
Uh,
what's another
no,
example?
I can't think of another example.
Give me a second.
If it's Spielberg, guess it's usually
The
been
Mummy.
Spielberg. Oh,
Um
Let's
oh
see.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I never thought about that. Well, the whole
uh
point is that we're talking today about Back to the Future, Spielberg's biggest, I guess, what additional achievement to the cinematic world with Robert Zemeckis as
well,
the director. So, with Rhodes, we don't need. I regret this bit. We're
Yeah.
gonna get started. Back to the Future. So during Cinema Showcase, we've done individual choices of. I really regret that bit. That was so. It's seriously the worst pair of sunglasses. I thought it looked better on camera, but I looked like what was that? What's that guy from South Park? PT counselor or something?
oh
PC
PC.
PC principal.
Yeah, that was
You
not the. That
definitely
was.
look like every dude who's just like kind of a shitty dude at a lake.
Yeah, yeah.
Got like one of those pontoon boats. He's drinking a Bud Light. He's just
Yeah, my
It's his
bad.
dad's boat.
Yeah, yeah, but he
yeah.
calls it his. Yeah, I get you. Okay, moving far from that. This choice is the one I've been waiting for, but not because it is my choice, but because I think this is truly the most iconic movie out of the ones we've done so far. We've done Cloverfield and we've done what was the other one? Uh, that was Edgar Wright.
Is
Shoot, Hot
it Hot
Fuzz.
Fuzz?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those two are iconic for their own ways. With Cloverfield doing, oh, and we also did John Wick with Ricky. And those ones are iconic in their own ways. We have Cloverfield doing the shaky cam, in the streets, found footage, and then Hot Fuzz being a great parody for like those police buddy cop movies. Back to the Future, I think, is the one that just changed cinema. I love that movie. It is truly one of my favorites. So you've been doing the Spielberg showcase, the Spielberg summer,
Yeah.
and Colin, did you get a chance to rewatch it this week?
Yeah.
Okay, how great is that movie? Decades later.
It's
It's
pretty
got a
good.
great pace.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, Cameron, you go first. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty.
It's got a good pace.
It's great.
It's very kinetic.
I think that's a movie that no matter how many times I have seen it, it truly doesn't get old. And every time I have seen it, I always pull up the John Mulaney bit in the end, just to
Oh yeah.
kind of while it's fresh. Where it's like, so is he like a cool character like Ferris Bueller? No. And his friend is like either 45 or 80. We don't really know. And that's very true to this day. He's still living, and I'm very, very, very proud for Christopher Lloyd for pounding through. But the movie was released, and if you're new to Cinema Showcase, we kind of cover the movie in whole for a very short while. It's a little bit of an addition thing, but the year release was 1985, which is a great year for movies that year, in period, and a little Michael J. Fox as well. Director was Robert Zemeckis, with writer Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. I don't know if you guys also have seen the Movies That Made Us series on Netflix. Did you catch that?
I've seen a couple of those.
Is that the one with John Carpenter's Halloween?
I think they did one. They did a horror
Yeah.
season on there. Great show. And a lot of the stuff that came from what we're talking about came from this, but it was starring Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, and Leah Thompson as Lorraine. With a budget of $19 million, this movie still looks great to this day. And I feel like 19 million is very, very low for movies that come out today and look even worse.
Yeah.
Not to dog on it, but I mean, it's great. Colin, I want to get your opinion on this movie. When was the last time you watched it compared to today?
Oh, I mean, it's been a minute, like since I can't really pinpoint the last time I ever watched that movie. I know that I watched it quite a bit when I went to my I went to a ranch with my dad. His buddy owned it, and they had like old DVDs. One of them was Back to the Future. Watched that back to back because that was one of the few movies that my dad actually would have sat down and watched, as opposed to, Spider-Man 24/7.
Hmm,
Um,
it's a good break.
and I was a little bit nostalgic for like
Yeah.
different reasons, and it was honestly, I gotta say, every performance in that, even like, the things that would have annoyed me, like as a kid, like Biff,
Hmm.
were it was still fun.
Yeah.
Also, I both miss, but also don't really miss the old like stereotypical bully that is like one punch away from like killing the main character, like the
Yeah.
bullies are murderers,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
It's like that's
insane
practically
level like
assault.
violence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane.
Like, but everything is just like fun and campy, like the right level of camp where you don't really have to question it. You just go with it. Because like whenever you start asking questions like the John Mulaney thing, the movie falls apart. But when you sit down and you watch it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And you don't
Exactly.
care. You're just having fun.
Yeah. And I think
Like,
nostalgia plays on the movie very, very heavily, as the whole point is that he goes back to the future and messes up his parents' relationship, potentially losing his own future. And I think that premise is so simple, but it's so great because of that music. It's so good. Cameron,
yeah.
in watching this, where does in your opinion, scale on the Spielberg scale? Because I feel like
So
you've watched 22 movies already, which is a lot.
yeah. I liked it a lot. See,
Yeah.
I have a unique relationship with it in that I didn't watch it as a kid.
Mm,
Like I didn't grow up watching this movie. I don't have a lot of the nostalgia for it that a lot of people have.
hmm
Um, but I think it's a really solid movie. Right now it's at 9, right behind The Color Purple and right above Arachnophobia.
Okay, that's a
Um,
fair list.
I think it's a very interesting movie just because of how long it stayed in the public conscience and also for how unabashedly insane it is.
Mm.
Um, just like
It's a $4 word. Hold on, unabashed. I gotta look it up. But go on.
uh it's like uh it's so uniquely itself as well. It's
Oh,
just a really interesting movie to just like study. Also,
hmm.
fun fact, things you learn from watching all of these movies back to back. The town square in Gremlins and the town square in Back to the Future are the exact same
Yeah, it's
place.
the one on the Warner Brothers lot.
Yeah.
It's in like this little part of the studio that's always shut off because they're recording there. But yeah, I love it.
It was just what I was just like, that looks familiar.
And it's so great that this movie, like you said, unabashedly. Which, by the way, did not know $4 word. I'm gonna add that to my pockets without embarrassment or shame. So thank you for that new one. But you're right. This movie's absolutely insane, and for a movie that was, in my opinion, very low budget for today. I'm pretty sure it was huge back in '85. But I mean, 19 million, I
Oh,
think was the budget.
oh yeah, Jesus.
That's huge back then. And
Must that be
almost its
inflation?
opening weekend, it almost made its money back, and its total gross worldwide was 385 million, almost 386. That's a huge amount of things. And in this movie where and the reason why I love it so much was like I didn't catch it late, but I was in my teens when I watched it and I was sick at home and I was like not feeling that great. I think I had like the flu or something. So I just started going through Netflix, and when it was on Netflix, all three movies were there and I watched all three in one day. Sorry, what was oh what is
55 mil,
damn.
which for the scale of it,
That's very, very good. And they used all this stuff, I wouldn't say practically, but they actually like they didn't heavily rely on a lot of special effects back then.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not like they
it's
were
mostly
working
just
with.
him booking it around town, being like, ah,
Yeah, and like actually being like hooked and holding onto the car and on that really like
yeah,
red
like
skateboard,
there's when the car flies off, when the car travels through time,
the fire
um,
because their foot.
Yeah.
Because if you look at
Well,
the
the
scene where
fire
they're
is practical.
well,
Yeah.
hold on. Not the first time when the car is reaching 88, driving towards them.
Oh yeah.
You can see in that shot one of each of their feet are directly submerged in the fire, but then in the next shot they're safely standing above it. I just noticed that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Also,
a
there are terrorists in this movie.
yeah,
I feel
full
like
on.
that gets glossed over a lot.
Sorry. Yeah.
They're just actual terrorists that
Yeah.
almost killed Doc Brown.
Well, they
Uh,
did. Technically, they
no,
technically did.
no, because he had the vest
Well,
on.
hold on. Technically, in
It
the
was
first
a
well, in
it
the
was a
first
full
movie,
circle.
Full
Like
loop.
yeah, but
like
in the first
so
movie,
Doc Brown always had the vest because
no,
Marty
he didn't
McFly was
always have the
supposed.
vet.
Hold on,
All right.
Marty. Doc Brown always had the vest. All right, he was supposed to go back in time and tell Doc Brown that, like, like, give him the note. Doc Brown is a very curious scientist, would definitely read the note. He would have had that bulletproof vest on the whole time. Doc Brown was always alive, but Marty had to go back to the future to do that. It's like a full circle. You
Well,
know what I
so
mean?
Correct.
kind of, but the thing is that in the movie he steals the uranium. The terrorists find him and kill him, and then when they see him dead,
A
he
normal
gets in the car.
sentence you
I
said
know.
about every family classic. The terror he took the uranium
Hey,
and then
to
the terror.
quote Deadpool, every single family movie starts with a murder. Bambi, Back to the Future. Here we are. The point is, he dies. He gets into what? Bambi's mom gets killed.
No, he never called out Bambi. It's
I'm just. Well, no, he
Bambi,
said Bambi.
Lion King, Saw 7.
So he did say Bambi. Point is, He didn't say Back to the Future. I'm just making that own list. The thing is, in the movie, he dies, gets in the DeLorean to save himself, and then when he goes, he reaches 88, not realizing that Doc put the time in the DeLorean itself to go back to 1955. Bam! He gets sent and shot through, and then when they're doing the test and the experiment to get him back to the future, he gives him this note, and Doc tears it up. He didn't want to read it because he didn't want to change his future. But eventually, he put the pieces together, and when he does go back in time and gets shot again, Marty runs over, does the whole "I'm sorry," and he goes, "Marty, I read your note," and he's fine.
I think
Isn't it
I
because of
I,
like
I
the
still
time?
think we are right.
Well, no, because here's the thing: it changed because it became Twin Pine malls to the only the mall changed when he came back.
Alone time.
Like
Lone Pine
like
Mall.
James, like, you're not wrong, but also because of that, like, because Marty went back in time, like, to that
Yeah,
time before the mall,
yeah,
We are going to try
like,
and make
he,
sense of Back to the Future time travel rules.
yeah.
We
It
will
makes
be
sense.
all
oh
It
that.
no,
makes sense.
I'm just trying to say everybody is right in this
Well,
situation.
yeah,
Everybody's right.
in a way, but the whole point of the story is that he died in the first part, and then because of that change, it becomes Lone Pine Malls because he takes out one of the trees in Twin Pine Malls when he went back to 1955.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. No,
So
no, you're right. Yeah,
he
yeah,
messed with that future.
no,
Which,
he
by the
def.
way,
Yeah,
which
you're right.
I know I'm not to be that film snob. I'm sorry. You are all right. You're not wrong. I totally get it.
No, you
Please
made
be
a
my
good point. You actually
yeah.
just disputed my argument.
But no, you're not wrong. It's very cinematically full circle, and you're very correct. So I'm not trying to be that asshole. The thing is, first question I'd like to ask you boys: where would you like to go first in the DeLorean? That's I think a simple question because we're gonna get into the movie in a second. But genuinely, if you had the DeLorean, you go. What are you laughing about?
No, I just hate the first thought that I had in my mind.
Where did you go? All right, you know what? You text me that. I don't want to know. Just text me. Just text me. Just text me.
Cameron, you go first,
Because
please.
I'll tell you
I'm
right
going
now.
back to I'm going back to the 60s and I'm killing the Beatles.
Whoa, what do you got against the Beatles?
I don't like their haircut.
All right, that seems a little, like
No,
that seems biased.
I don't like their vibe.
This may sound like a campy answer, but I would like to go back in time and become Spielberg's assistant, just so I can just
That'd
be
be
on
pretty sick.
sets for those kind of
That
movies.
would be
Mainly Raiders.
good movie.
Yeah, Colin, that's a good choice. I'm not saying that here, but I'll put it on the Colin. What's your pick?
Uh, I gotta, like, I can go anywhere, like, past and future.
Colin, you got this. It is going. Well, yeah, you can go past and future. It's any date on the literal known timeline.
Uh,
Because they went to the future in the second movie, so
Cameron, I'm
it's on the
sorry.
text.
I'm
I cannot
sorry.
repeat that here, but Colin would essentially ruin his own life. He would fade
Yeah,
away at the end of that movie.
that's a
I
unique way.
wouldn't have a life.
Well, that's
That's
the
a
thing. You would
unique way
fade
to
away
go
like
about it.
Marty was.
Oh, everyone would. The whole family tree would be.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know, because like I can go anywhere.
You
So
literally like that amount of freedom to me scares me. Like the amount of freedom you have in a car that can go from any timeline genuinely scares me.
kill Mark Hamill, be Luke Skywalker.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, I didn't like that first half. Okay. The whole point about how great this movie is I think no matter how many times you may watch it, it still gets great. And then the amount of times it has been seen since I've watched it when I was a little kid and how great it still holds up is, I think, fantastic. Like that scene where he is fading away. I think it's funny when you do catch those special effect moments because it's clearly like a hand drawn hand, and then they're just slowly fading out in like post. I just think it's so clever the way that this movie was made because it felt very active. You know, it didn't feel like like a stationary movie. Like the camera going along with Marty when he's holding on the back of the car, and that like excitement you get with that music is great. I forgot who did the music. It wasn't John Williams, was it?
I don't think so,
No, let me
but
see.
yeah, the movie just has a lot of whimsy about it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just so fun.
It's got that Spielbergy like summer feel. It's got that like I'm on an adventure.
Yeah,
Like
it's very vibrant and alive, and everything, like everywhere, is very, colorful in terms of like, it just feels, you know, I mean, it's
it's
just
you feel
like
good.
it's like
fun.
Dream America. It's like
Yeah,
a postcard. It's like yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And by the way, the music, Alan Silvestri,
Owen Silvestri.
that
That's
answers a
that
lot.
hold on.
guy.
Where would I know him? That I know that name.
Polar Express, Forrest Gump, Castaway.
The
He did the
Avengers.
Avengers.
Okay, that's where. Okay, all right.
Uh, Terrible sequel, Predator 2. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Did know that.
Also a movie I included on the
I
Spielberg
did know
on.
that.
That
That
makes
is
sense.
that is still one of my
Apparently
favorite
Spielberg
reviews.
went to war to get Warner Brothers and Disney to play along and let Bugs Bunny and Mickey be in the same. So like I don't tangent just because it's kind of crazy. Um they had a deal that every time they used a Disney character like Mickey, there also had to be a Looney Tunes character at the same time. So like Mickey and Bugs are in the same scene.
Mhm.
Donald and
Daffy.
Daffy, Jesus, my brain.
They're kind of people confuse them all the time. I
It's
get it.
it's it's like anyway, just
Yeah.
an interesting piece of legal shit that sneaks its way into the movie.
And Christopher Lloyd was in that movie too. He was the
But
bad
I
guy.
mean, it was a Zemeckis movie. Yeah.
Yeah. My God. So this movie's this movie's great. This movie, I don't know if you did see. Did you guys watch the Still documentary with Michael J. Fox?
No, I enjoy
And
being happy.
yeah,
And that will make me very sad.
No, no.
I,
So you're not wrong. And you're not wrong. As much as it is kind of sad, it's actually very well done because it actually reminds you like Michael can still do a lot while
Pretty
doing it.
sure it got an Oscar nom for
It did, and I
still.
was kind of hoping it was gonna win. That's
yeah.
but
I'd probably watch The Whale again before I watch that. It's not no disrespect. It's just
no,
that
it's
I
sad. I
love
get it.
Michael J. Fox as a human being,
Yeah,
but I don't want to like, it's like watching a loved one have like a documentary about like how tough things have been, and you're
yeah,
just like, you just want to like go through like the entire documentary, give him a hug, be like, you're my
yes,
hero.
yeah. And the thing, and what's great about it though is that how active he was in this
Actually, never
documentary.
mind. It wasn't.
No, I thought it was nominated.
No,
Oh, was it Golden Globe?
maybe that makes sense. Golden
Yeah.
Globe was.
Yeah. Either way, in the documentary, which I truly think is great because Michael was very heavily involved. He even narrated the documentary itself. It's really
Okay,
really
for
well done, and they had this really cool detail of showing what his life was like juggling Family Ties, which was his big show at that time, and Back to the Future, and they gave us
Oh
this.
yeah, I saw the
dude.
clip of that.
Yeah, there's been clips floating around the internet because it's so well done, like how they were intercutting scenes of him walking off stage, taking off his costume, and it's like part of the documentary. Taking off the costume, getting in the back of the limo, drinking a cup of coffee, reading the script, getting off the car, getting on this costume, and then when he then walks into frame, which is in the movie. So it was really great combining the movies. It was so Colin, it was insane.
No, I heard about this, but I didn't know like they actually use shots of him actually going on like because when
Like
I
wild.
heard that, I think I was in sociology class. We were talking about Back to the Future. I don't know. I
I'd
mean
love to
she
hear
wasn't
that.
really a great teacher, but anyway, we were talking about Back to the Future, and like I just was blown away of just like because I was lazier back then. I'm somewhat lazy now, but like just the fact that like Michael J. Fox was balancing a show and a movie at the same time, going back and forth,
Daily.
not only must have been exhausting,
Yeah.
but also that's commitment right there, dude.
It's huge amounts of commitment, and it's great how when they were doing the Michael J. Fox part outside of the TV shows and movie part, they got a guy that had a similar build to him, and it was shot in the silhouette, so you really couldn't dissociate it not being Michael J. Fox. But it was such a unique way where he was only getting like 4 hours of sleep a day and doing these 18-hour days, something like that. Like insane amount of work for two big things that went on to do great things. And then Family Ties eventually fell out, and the Back to the Future got the trilogy. And I mean, they only agreed to let him do it if they can still have him on like days. Like they were shooting mainly at nights because a lot of that movie is shot at night. If you haven't caught that. So when break happened, they did the day shoots.
Hmm.
Yeah, insane. And like I said about earlier, the movies that made us episode on Netflix is really really well detailed because I didn't know about this. There's a lot of facts that went into this. So originally it was titled Professor Brown Visits the Future. And before it was ever even greenlit, the script was rejected 44 different times.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
to be honest, I get it. I get why a studio would be afraid to make this movie.
sure, I totally get that. And the reason why I think also not the reason why a lot of stuff that happened before even Back to the Future ever got made was between Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg. A movie you actually saw recently was 1942, right?
Very bad movie.
Yeah,
Good
one
year, good year.
no, no, it wasn't. Especially for that movie. That movie is not that great. It is known as a flop. It is known as that Spielberg took a chance on this kid named Bob Zemeckis. They gave him the script, he made it, and it sucked balls. And then they went on to do this great collaboration to create Back to the Future. Like imagine fumbling and then getting it up.
Yeah, because like you said, like it gone through like 40 like script changes, and like the titles was like Alien, some like there was like
So
a
there was a
wacky
lot of
title,
different titles of it, but
and
Professor Brown Visits the Future was the original one before it became Back to the Future, from what I remember.
yeah, and what's the because I remember hearing this, but I don't know if you have the fact, but like the DeLorean, because it was never supposed to be a DeLorean.
Good job, Colin. That is exactly the next thing I was going to get to. Way to go, you kid. So,
Condescending, but I'll take it.
well, I was being legit. No, what? How?
I'm giving you a hard time.
Oh,
Giving you
did
a
I call
hard
you
time.
because I called you kid?
Hurry up, we got 2 minutes. We got two
Yeah,
minutes.
sorry. We're gonna we'll come
Go.
back. I'll start a new call. The DeLorean was originally the DeLorean was originally a refrigerator and not a car. The original climax for this film was to have both Doc Brown and Marty go into a nuclear power plant to steal some plutonium, which eventually did happen, to power it and have Marty's trip go back to the present. But the creators instead opted out for the much more conservative climax, using the lightning power to power Marty's trip back to the present instead. Still using uranium still to power the car before it became Mr. Trash or whatever it was called at the end of the movie. What was it?
I don't know.
Something like that. Where they throw all the garbage in there and it powers it up, perfectly. I think that's a great, great way to kick off that movie. We are talking about what makes this movie so great, but I do also want to talk about the actual movie for a little bit. We did make some jokes about the John Mulaney thing, but the story in something so simple is so iconic. Like it's this small town kid wants to do something different, and he gets a big chance by befriending this really crazy dethroned scientist, not dethroned, what's it like dishonored scientist.
We're already friends.
Yeah.
We don't know how.
I think we don't need to know. It's a great
What's the
story.
word?
I mean, its
No.
creativity alone is great. Like
Yeah.
the creative, the way that I think this movie helped define that sci-fi can be fun. Because I feel like at that time, sci-fi was not taking it serious. You know,
No, it
we
wasn't.
weren't allowed. And you're right.
It
Yeah,
wasn't so. I mean, back except for like maybe your Ridley Scott Aliens, but other than that, like with this one, it's like it's just fun science fiction where you don't really need to know how they built the DeLorean. It's just that he's smart and just move along with it.
yeah, and I completely agree. And with Aliens coming after the first Back to the Future movie in '86, it's interesting to see. I would say some parts you can take from Spielberg's impact in the movie with Robert Zemeckis' creativity of the directing of it, because like a lot of what this movie did in the beginning is what mirrored in the end, and I kind of like that full circle in it,
Mhm.
where it doesn't go so far out, but with Marty kind of like being the reason why some things exist, which is kind of funny, like when he does the whole Johnny Be Good thing and he's like, it's a little hard for you guys, but your kids are gonna love it. I kind of I like that line, not necessarily, the most like crazy thing, but it's so iconic, that scene where he's riffing the guitar and the floor is silent. I think that's just great.
Yeah.
And I mean, was it me or did you guys notice the recasting with Jennifer from the second movie to the first movie?
Um.
The other
Not.
two.
Huh?
n- n-
I haven't seen the other two.
What? Oh my god.
Well,
Dude, okay.
I.
It's funny.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
heard
funny.
about it afterwards, like, from like one of those like, YouTube shorts of like, did you know,
Yeah.
garbage. And basic like I was aware of that, but also I'll be honest, I didn't pay much attention to Marty's girlfriend. I didn't care about her at
And she
all.
was very short in the movie. It's not like she
Yeah.
plays a bigger part in the second one, but it goes from Claudia Wells to Elizabeth Shue. And in full honesty, Cameron, you cannot look at Elizabeth Shue the same way after watching this movie and then watching The Boys. I'm gonna be very real.
Wait, isn't she the
Homelander. He's the one,
No,
Homelander?
the
Wait,
she.
girl
hold on.
she was
What do
in
you
love
mean?
with.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, oh, the
The
Second one.
milk.
who was running Vought?
Yeah, with the
Oh,
baby.
I like how you're pointing here.
Well, I just the milk. It was like it was that woman, and I was watching the boys. I'm like, this is ruining Back to the Future too for me, man. But
Yeah,
she still did great
enhances the experience.
for one way. Yes, and I just think this movie's so good. It's colorful. It's very very colorful. I think a movie with this much aura, is that a new thing that's going around? It definitely still holds to this day.
It's got a really good energy to it.
Yeah, and like you said, it was kinetic. It was constantly moving.
Yeah.
There wasn't a dull moment in the movie.
No, exact. No, there was no like slow moments at all. Like it like how short is this movie? It's like a good 90, right?
It is it's almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours. Flew by for me.
Yeah, I know it goes so quick because Back to the Future 1 is 1 hour 56, and then Back to the Future 2 is 1 hour 48. So it's actually shorter.
Huh.
It's so good. And it does a lot of great world building in the beginning, like Save the Clock Tower. You have Mayor Goldie. You have all these different things, like when he slipped and fell and then he hit his head on the toilet, and all these other different things that when he goes back in time, he can see all the other different things, like that joke where he sees his uncle as a baby. He goes like, "Get used to these bars, kid," because his uncle's still in prison.
Yeah.
Did you not
I
catch
didn't
that?
catch I didn't catch
Yeah, at the
that
beginning of the movie
last
where the mom
That's
drops the
a
cake.
really good line.
Yeah, the mom
one.
drops the cake where it's like Uncle Ernie didn't make parole, and on the cake it says "Welcome back" or something like that, and it's like a prison
Oh,
jail cell. And then when he's a little kid, he's a little baby, like, and this is baby Ernie. It's like, so you're my uncle. It's like, better get used to these bars, kid. It's just like it's so many great things, and I
a lot of good
argue
writing.
it's so great, and I argue that this version in the movie of Earth Angel, done by Marvin Berry, by the way, and the Starlighters. I prefer that over the Penguins Earth's Angel.
You
Earth
talked
Angel is
about
so
that when
good.
we were at Disney World.
Yeah, I love it. I prefer it much, much more. That cover was done so well.
You said it's not on Spotify?
No, it's not. That's last time I checked. It's on YouTube. So good. And I think it's on actually on Apple Music. I think the album is on Apple Music because I do sometimes prefer doing in private, not in front of people, never in front of people. The Michael J. Fox opening to Johnny Be Good, where I will do like, all right, this is the blues riff from B, and then I'll play the song right as I get done. It's kind of it's a little thing. It hits my joy quota.
That's cute.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, it's you got to hit it every once in a while. Originally, Mark Campbell was going to be Marty McFly. Sorry, no, sorry. Mark Campbell was the voice of of I couldn't get that when Marty. Oh, Mark Campbell was the voice of Marty when he was playing Johnny B. Good. So obviously that wasn't Michael J. Fox singing. Yet I think he could do it pretty well. You know, that guy can pretty much do anything. So, and then what was the last bit of it? Oh, Ben Stiller, John Cryer, C. Thomas Howell all auditioned for Marty, but Eric Stoltz was originally pinned for Marty before being replaced to uh shoot Michael J. Fox. And it's interesting to think Ben Stiller could have been Marty McFly.
By the way, I've been freaking out about this ever since it happened. I was just my brain wasn't working. The word we were looking for was disgraced.
Oh, well, no, I mean, I think the word you still picked was pretty good, though. What's wrong with the one you picked? It was
It
without
was so
embarrassment or shame.
No.
Unabashedly, I think is pretty good. It's without embarrassment or shame. I'm still having to memorize that word because that was.
Oh no. When we were talking about Doc Brown, like
Oh,
kind of like
Oh,
he
disgraced nuclear
disgrace. There's the.
physicist.
What did I say? Was it like banned or something?
I don't know.
I was wrong. Either way, this movie's great. I genuinely like. I don't want to talk so much about this movie because I don't want it to be spoiler, but the whole thing's a spoiler-filled episode because this movie's
It's
so
Back
great.
to the Future.
Yeah.
I
What do you
know,
mean?
but like the whole point is
This
that
isn't Endgame.
I know the
This
whole
is
point.
one of the biggest movies ever made.
The whole point of these episodes is to get people to go watch these movies. So I want to talk about it, but not so much where it ruins the experience of the movie for
People to
them.
watch
Huh?
Back to the Future.
I want people to watch Back to the Future.
I think most people have.
I
I
mean,
don't know. I'm also
we have
talking
like
to my
a
demographic.
the, we have a 30 to 40 minute like episode of like cinema showcase. We can't be coy about it.
I know. I'm sorry. It's a bit of me that wants to be hesitant and pull some, so the magic of watching Back to the Future for the first time is experienced within the audience. Because trust me, if I got spoiled a lot, I don't think a lot of this movie would have that impact. Just saying. Point is, this movie rocks. I love this movie. I love this movie so much. I love that Huey Lewis did a few bits of the album. It was really, really well done. And fun fact, in the beginning of the movie, when Marty and his band is auditioning and he goes into that very, very loud power riff, that one guy on the bullhorn is actually Huey Lewis himself, telling him he's playing too darn loud.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's so cool. Imagine telling you someone who's playing your song to shut up. You know how cool you got to be to do that?
Or annoying.
Well, okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know.
Um,
I mean, I feel like I'm yapping. This is because I
no,
know this
you're
is my
good.
choice, but I just love this movie.
There's something else that's pretty interesting, boys, that we haven't talked about.
I believe we
Is
have.
that like I don't know if you were talking about it while I
I don't
was
think
like
we
trying
did.
to connect my iPad, but there is a chunk of this movie that was filmed
Hmm.
that Michael J. Fox wasn't a part of because there was a different Marty McFly. So I forget the actor's name, but like I think
Eric Stoltz?
I could be, but
Okay.
like there was like an issue with him where it's just like the director just did not like him. But there is one shot of Eric Stoltz in the movie
Oh, I
that,
think you're
you know,
right.
it's
Yeah.
not Marty McFly, and it's when Marty is sitting at the diner, but the camera is pointed towards his back. That's
Yeah.
Eric Stoltz.
Yes, I think you're right. I have heard about that. Good on you. And I think that movie for that reason alone is awesome. They didn't kind of want to discount his existence. I think they even gave him a credit or something like that. They gave him credit for
Yeah.
something, I think. But that's a good point, Colin. Yeah, I didn't think we didn't touch on that because a lot of what this movie does with its camera tricks is great, and I love how the camera is very active in this movie, kind of being like the center of attention when it's creating this tension, like when it's like McFly and it cuts to both of his dad and Marty turning over and seeing Biff, like
Oh yeah,
just
good bit.
it's so good and the camera placement and how each part of the camera wherever it's placed is adding to this world, like from the 50s to the 80s. I think he was from.
Yeah,
I think he was from the 80s.
1985.
Yes, I think so. I think he went back 30 years and
yeah, 55.
yeah, and it's just so great seeing small details like the Twin Pines becoming Lone Pine Mall and all these other different things that made this world that when you go back and watch it adds to this sense of giddiness. And what a bitchin' car. It's one of the most iconic cars of all time. And I remember I was leaving work one day. I was driving on the highway. This is going 80 something miles an hour. I see something pull like right up
Oh,
next to me. And I'm like, this guy's speeding like a dick. But I look over and it's it's the DeLorean. It's legit the DeLorean on this on
you still have
riding
that
up with
video?
me. I have that video. I'll send it in the chat. The thing
Oh
is
no,
that I
add it
was
to the
like,
video.
oh my god, it's so funny. Oh yeah, I'll probably add it here. This is not real. This is not real. Hold on. Look who's driving by. Hold on. Just drive by me. I gotta slow down. Dude. No way! I needed to be his friend. I wanted to ride it. I really wanted to drive their car. Actually,
I
I think
was
Cameron, were you there? I took the photo with Doc Brown at Universal.
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh,
my my take on Back to the Future and why it works is like at its very core, it's still following that like hero's journey, that like kind of like prototypical like hero narrative, but at every turn it could possibly take, like it chooses the most insane option. Like they had this story structure, but they had to fill in the blanks Mad Lib style. And they were like, yeah, throw in some terrorists. Uranium, time travel. What if the bully tried to his mom?
yeah.
Like, it's just like,
That's not a great part in the movie.
just like, how do we get here? Like, it's, and then and it still works because it's just, yeah,
Yeah,
it's good
and
stuff.
don't watch it
I,
with your kids. It may be rated PG, but that is before Temple of Doom came out, so it is very PG-13 for
Actually, no,
those.
yeah.
that's true.
What was the first PG-13 movie? Oh, Red Dawn. What? I thought it was Temple of Doom.
I think Temple of Doom made them make it.
Okay, sorry, that was the one
They're like,
inspired.
this is the
Inspired.
middle.
Sorry, that was okay.
That being said,
It's still just
if
great, crazy.
if you were a kid and you were watching this,
Mhm.
it would not register to you that that is a like
Yeah.
that's just something that like as
As you get older,
They
like
you
just
kind
want
of
to
catch.
aggressively hang out.
yeah, they're just like
Yeah,
hugging real hard.
They're just really toxic
we're
friends.
not gonna. We're done. This horse has already beaten. The
Anyway,
thing is, you're
yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
and it
It's
is a
awkward.
very it's awkward. It's not a great moment, but
But it's also like Cameron does have a point
yeah,
though, because as a kid, none of us recognized
no,
that. And also to like the movie's credit, it still can pull a PG rating because a lot of the stuff is very like tongue in cheek, like
yeah,
adult humor where they don't beat it over your head.
yeah.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that
like
thing where
peeping
like
tom bit, like
The what?
what happened?
the whole peeping tom bit. It's
I
so
was about to
Yeah,
say, like, exactly. It's like, in the beginning, they talk about how they met and fell in love. And then, like, you just see Marty's dad on the tree, and it's up to you to, like, understand what he's
well,
doing.
because
And then,
in the movie it says like, well, I met your father when he fell out of the tree bird watching, and my dad almost hit him with his car. And no, he was not bird watching. He was being a pervert. He
yeah.
just
yeah.
didn't want to tell his kid, which is
A l-
fair.
Another thing that this movie does really well is physical comedy.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so good, dude.
it's
When they crash into the manure, so
yeah,
good.
yeah. And
This is
Doc,
bullshit.
no, he just screams, "I hate manure!" And as it's puddling out of his mouth, it's
No, wait, no, but he does say something like this is horse shit or something.
something like that. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But
But,
I mean,
like,
it's so
play
cool.
on.
But no, I know. Sorry, and the also action in this movie, action with quotes, like when Michael J. Fox had to walks over the car as the skateboard's under the car and gets right back on top. It's kind of cool.
That
It's
was
a
a good
very
move.
interesting stunt.
Oh yeah. Also, Marty McFly, coolest guy ever.
I get it. Let me ask you
Just
this:
so
Who's
cool.
cooler,
Is he?
Who's cooler, Ferris Bueller or Marty McFly?
Okay, okay, okay.
Neither of them. I feel like in real life, both of them would be douchebags. Marty would just be a little bit more
In
likable.
the context of the movie, they're made to look like the coolest guys that have ever lived.
Yeah.
Um, God.
Sorry.
Oh,
Colin's realistic take is that Michael J. Fox's character would be a douche in real life, not time travel out of a terrible made car. But no, that
Okay,
Michael J. Fox would have been an
you're
asshole
talking
in real
about
life.
cool characters here, and then
Yeah.
like I did say though, it's like Marty would be a little bit more likable, but
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller would still be a douchebag.
100%.
Ferris is
He
a bad.
would definitely get arrested for insurance fraud. 100%. Ferris definitely went to jail for a few for
My
insurance
idea
fraud.
of cool is a little bit more, a
Spinal
little
Tap.
bit different.
Okay.
I,
Kramer, what were
I
you
I
gonna
would
say?
say personally, I think Ferris Bueller is cool.
I can get that. I get that. I
Ferris is just like he's even more of like a thumb in the face of authority. Like he's like a mastermind, you know. Like Marty just kind of like was there and stumbled into shit. Like
well,
Ferris was
I
like
kind
he
of
had
like the fact
plan.
that Marty is kind of like almost like an every guy kind of thing where he doesn't like school. He wants to be with his girlfriend. He likes good music, and it's just
He's
he
just a
also
chill dude. He just
Hangs
doesn't
out with
have
older
that
kids.
no.
psychopath energy that Ferris has.
Yeah, it's they both got BDE. We're 100% honest on there.
Anyway,
Big DeLorean energy. Not the other way. Get your head out of the gutter. You guys are freaks.
yeah.
I can't believe
You
that.
got
Well,
anything else?
uh, I want to give shout outs to Andrew Robert and Kevin Pike. They built the DeLorean. They built it legit, and I can't be. That's the best practical effect of
Actually,
ever.
I will say one last note to end on.
Mm,
I I've been playing this game. I got it on PlayStation Plus a couple months ago,
hmm
and it consumed my life once I bought it, or not bought it. I got it. Um, I
I
have
can't
put
mind.
upwards of 150 hours into it.
Jesus,
Um,
man.
Jeez.
it is power washing simulator.
Oh
God
my!
damn
Talked
it.
about this on a past episode.
They
You did
have
this during the fantasy basketball episode when Colin was saying that he had his dead dad on the team, and you go, "How are we
oh
gonna be
yeah,
Colin's
yeah.
dad?"
You could have just left it at fantasy basketball team.
Okay, but wait,
We
wait, wait,
all
wait,
would
wait.
have filled in the
They
Make your dead
blanks.
dad
had
jokes all the time.
they had a
Have some
DLC.
respect.
They have a DLC that is Back to the Future. They have a Back to the Future DLC where you can clean the DeLorean, you can clean the clock tower, you can clean the time train.
Wait, hold on.
Um,
Is the DLC included with the PlayStation Plus, or do you have to buy it?
I I bought it because I liked the game that much, but it was like $5. It was worth
Oh,
it.
let's see. How much
You
are
Um,
power
can you can
washers?
play as the DeLorean in Rocket League.
You can't
oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
See that is how you know you made a movie so good. Where decades later, that car could be in any situation, and you know people are gonna stop and turn. I will always take a photo with it at every Comic Con. I will take a photo with Doc Brown every time I go to Universal Studios. I do think you should do a Marty McFly. But the thing is that floating board is iconic. They have replicas in it at Universal Studios you could buy. It's so the hoverboard. What did I say?
How
The
sad are you
waterboard.
that you're never going to be able to ride Back to the Future the ride?
Hey, I don't want to get into that right now because it is a spiraling downward depression I always think about. Because you know what I have rode instead? The Simpsons ride.
Oh, I've
Hey, The
seen it.
Simpsons ride is good.
It's
The Simpsons ride
not
is good.
compared to the Back to the Future.
It's good. It's really funny. I like it.
I didn't like it. Mike and I rode it, hated it.
Yeah, well,
Just,
that's because
but you know what I did like instead?
y'all are
I
like,
did love
y'all
the
don't get
Jimmy
The
Fallon
Simpsons.
ride. I did love the Jimmy Fallon ride a lot.
You love. Oh yeah, I regret riding with you every time because you actually clapped.
Well, if I'm not there to have a good time, why am I even there? You know what I'm saying?
By the
All right.
way, wait, we'll talk after.
Yeah, we'll talk about. Well, that'll wrap up Cinema Showcase. That is the first attempt in a while, but if you guys haven't checked out the past episodes, we got John Wick, Hot Fuzz, Cinema Show, the Cloverfield, so many great episodes. Check it out. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.